You don't manifest things based on what you know or what you study. You manifest based on who you are. And in this session, I want to show you how I reprogram my identity to attract $1 million partnership within 3 weeks. On paper, it should have taken 6 months to 10 years. But when you do the identity shift work and you become an instant match to what you desire, your results change like night and day. So a lot of people study manifestation, they read so many books, they do a lot of things. And then they come to me and ask me, Anam, how did you start getting results so fast? How things really shifted for you? What exactly did you do? And what I realize is that the key in manifestation is changing how you see yourself, because that changes your vibration, that changes your conscious awareness. So I remember when I used to study manifestation with Bob Proctor, and I used to ask him that I know I attract it based on my frequency, but how do I maintain my frequency all day long? How do I maintain that state, that vibration all day long? And you maintain that frequency and state not by just thinking high vibe or meditating or visualizing for 15 minutes on your back in your old pattern and program. What he taught me was that you want to have that frequency and vibration as your dominant state. And that only works when you shift your identity. And you shift your identity by permanently changing how you see yourself, because that's when you think and feel and act in alignment. So I want to share with you these 3 steps that I took to change my identity and manifest $1 million partnership within 3 weeks. So the first thing I did was I said, what would I absolutely love? What do I really want? And I desired to attract big tech giants and big tech companies for my corporate consulting so that I can start working with them and implement big contracts and partner with them. Now, that's a desire, that's a frequency, that's a reality that was available. But the question is, who do I need to be to become a match? If you want something and that's just you really want it and you think and you visualize and you feel yourself having it, that's just a mere fantasy. When you become it, when you become a version of you who has already manifested it, who has it, you bring that vision into being. It becomes who you are, and your reality mirrors you that. Your action change, your thinking change, your feelings change, and what you attract change, your vibration change, and automatically on autopilot, you bring it to your life. So I ask myself the most important question, who am I right now? And what I realized was that the beliefs that I was holding, I was operating in alignment with that. They became my identity. They became my consciousness. They became who I am. And those beliefs were dictating how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, how I'm acting, and what I'm attracting. And I've seen this so much with myself and other people that we study so much on manifestation. We are constantly geeking out on the concepts, but until you live by them, it doesn't change anything. So when I ask myself this question, I realize that I don't see myself worthy of attracting those kind of partnerships. I don't believe that my work is valuable. I don't believe that I can help those companies have those kind of incredible results. I don't believe in the power of my work. I believe I have to work really, really hard to convince those companies. I believe that it has to be hard because it's $1 million partnerships. They are big tech giants. Why would they want to work with a brand new company? I had a lot of those beliefs which were getting in the way. And then what happens is when we have these kind of beliefs, we start to work really hard. We start to overperform. We start to hustle. And that keeps our nervous system in control. It makes us feel safe that, yes, we are doing the work. We are safe because we are hustling. We're working hard. But we keep creating more of the same because you are creating based on what beliefs and vibration that you're operating at. What is your conscious awareness? You won't even attract those opportunities. Even when you hustle hard to try to reach out those people or try to aim for that, there will be resistance in what you do. You might end up procrastinating, or you might not even attract those people. it is really important to realize that if you are working so hard, if it feels difficult, if it feels complex, then there is a problem in being instead of doing. And over strategizing or hustling more won't achieve that. So then I started asking myself, okay, what beliefs, what in my being is going to align with that? And a lot of people think that identity shift requires changing thousands of beliefs. That's not true. It requires tweaking your key beliefs, and it can happen really, really fast. So I started taking on the beliefs that there is a huge demand for what we do. Companies really need what we have got to offer. They really want to work with us. We have very valuable work. We are helping people, having a lot of results. And here, a lot of people trip up because they think, yeah, but I'm not an expert yet. So how can I say that? How can I believe that? And I need more time and more experience to be an expert. The key is, if you want to collapse time, you have to really not let time manipulate you. You are waiting for the outside reality to stack up and show you that you're an expert, but you can use your imagination, collapse time, switch a different dimension, jump in the new timeline where you are already experienced, and use your imagination to see how does your most experienced version show up? How does your most experienced version do the things? What do they believe? What are the things they're doing? How are they operating their business? What do they think about themselves? What is their confidence like? How they are talking? I remember Bob Proctor telling his son, and his son was sharing that, Brian Proctor. He was saying that when he started his work as a realtor, and it was his first ever day, and he went to his dad and said, "Dad, give me some advice. Like, what shall I do?" And his dad said to him that, "Don't think that this is your first day as a realtor. Take on the identity that you are an expert realtor. Take on the identity that you can do it in your sleep. Take on the identity that it's so easy for you, that you have done a lot of houses already." And he said, when I use my imagination to practice that identity, to mentally rehearse, to see myself in that place, to operate like that. And when I had my first property, so when he was doing his first property and he was selling it, he said, I smiled broadly. My shoulders were broader. I was more confident. Nobody could tell that I was doing it for the first time. You think that you're not an expert, and that's why you don't show up as an expert, and that's why your reality dictates that. And you are waiting for the outside circumstances to change to give you the proof, but there is no such proof that can come. You want to jump in all in, not just dip your feet in the water, but jump all in the timeline where you are an expert. And if you take on the identity of an expert, your reality will show you. When you start to seeing yourself as an expert, those ideas will start coming. You'll start channeling those things, those conversations, those things that you need to say, how you need to show up, how you need to approach your electromagnetic field around you, the toroidal field, which is your aura, which is how you actually communicate before you even say a single word. So when you enter a gathering, your aura is screaming louder than what you're saying, what you're trying to portray. And even your actions are pretty much in alignment. So if you don't feel you're good enough, you'll procrastinate. You will not make that call. You will not make that move. It is about shifting and taking on the identities and beliefs without finding any proof in the external reality. And I want to share with you a powerful story which has a huge impact from Think and Grow Rich. When Napoleon Hill was talking about this educator who wanted to implement a new education system, and he wanted $1 million to be able to do that. And he wanted a donation of $1 million. And at that time in 1900s, when Think and Grow Rich was written, imagine $1 million was a lot of money. And he kept thinking, who's going to give me that $1 million? Who's going to give me that? And then one day he realized, you know what? It's there. He fused with the belief. He fused with the identity. And he decided he's going to do a seminar. He's going to present an idea, and the $1 million is already there. So I want you to think like that. What you desire is already there, right? What are you doing? How are you becoming a match to receive it? What beliefs and assumptions are you taking on? How are you showing up as? So when he went to the seminar, he realized that he has forgotten the speech which he wrote. So he hasn't got the speech now. And all of a sudden, his subconscious mind took over when he went to the stage. His subconscious mind started channeling the speech. And I didn't even know what I was saying, but it was all coming out. My conscious mind was amazed how it's all coming out perfectly. And when he finished his speech, there was a businessman in the audience who said to him, I've got $1 million. Come to my office and collect it. So you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be fully trained in the physical reality. You don't have to waste a lot of time trying to prove yourself certifications or trying to say, I need more experience. When you decide to quantum leap and bend the reality and jump in the timeline where you are experienced and you convince yourself that this is your truth because this is actually your truth, this is who you really are, and you embody that version of you where you have the experience already and you show up like that, your subconscious mind makes you do the things. Your subconscious mind takes over because you have got access to the universal intelligence. So that's what I did. When I take on this belief that there is a huge demand for what we do, I acted with the assumption, and not that I faked, pretended. I anchored into my truth that this is who I am. And I started approaching people with the belief that I have a lot of experience. And I remember having a first conversation in one of the huge tech events with AWS, Amazon Web Services, and the guy was constantly questioning us and telling us those things. And that's when, because of that identity, it dawned on us that we need to shift our messaging. We need to say it in a different angle. And the angle that we chose, the angle we stumbled on, that our subconscious mind really helped, that really clicked. And whenever we use that angle and that way and that perspective and that positioning our message, oh my God, people were like, okay, what's your number? We want to have a conversation. Let's set up a meeting. We were approached by really big companies. And that's when within 3 weeks, we implemented a multi-million-dollar partnership with one of the largest tech giants, despite in physical reality being a small company. So when you take on the identity, your electromagnetic field changes, the way you show up changes. You get all the guidance and information that you are waiting to get that confidence. It will only come when you make the decision that I am that person. So in the second step, you really shift your identity. And in the third step, you embody that version of you. Okay. So the first step is being really clear. What is you want? What does it look like? How it really is, not a superficial view, but a very, like, you can paint a picture in your mind what it looks like. The second is, who are you being, where your identity doesn't match that, and what are the tweaks you need in your identity which can really help you match that. And then the third is acting in alignment. It's done. Let's go. Now what? Do it. So I was having a one-to-one conversation just before this with my client, and I was asking her this, and she was like, I'm making the calls. I'm doing this. And all of a sudden, her frequency in her body was changing. Her vibration was changing. She was feeling motivated and she wanted to take action. So action will not come from using 10 million productivity hacks. Action would not come from having an accountability coach. Action would come from a different identity, because that version of you acts anyway. That's natural for them. So when you become that, you would even think, you know what? I'm not really doing anything. I'm just being myself. It's just natural, but you are acting in alignment on autopilot, and it becomes so autopilot that you can't even tell what you're doing. It becomes a part of your identity. And that's when you manifest it so naturally. Okay. So when you become a match in your identity, your thinking, your feeling, your action aligns, your attraction aligns, and everything happens by itself. Otherwise, you're constantly micromanaging, criticizing yourself, and creating more of the same. So the key is, be it now. Be it now. And I have recorded a really powerful masterclass where I share with you all the details of how I help my $1 million clients do that. If you want to access it, link is in the description. You can watch it, you can integrate it, and take this information to smash your income ceiling to your first or next million.